Hey, I'm David from Feedback Loop, and I'm going to be demoing for you today the 360 peer feedback tool we built. It works inside of Canvas or whatever your learning management system is that you use. I'm demoing it from Canvas today, and I'm going to talk you through basically how it works. Now, this platform is currently under development. We are going live with our first pilots in May 2023, and then we're going live with full implementations fall 2023. But already we've worked closely with many faculty and teaching and learning professionals who are involved with peer feedback and surveys because we have a lot of experience on our team with peer feedback, but the devil's always in the details with this stuff. So we continue to get this in front of people and get their insight. And you're going to see some of that reflected on this video, but this is not a final product. In other words, we still have a little bit of ways to go to really fine tune this. But what I think we have is something that's extremely easy to use, both for faculty and students, but it also mimics 360 peer feedback in the corporate world. That's a big part of teamwork in corporate. And we want to bring that to students since ultimately teamwork-based courses are in a lot of ways preparing them for their eventual careers. The first step though, and this always lives or dies with how easy is it for faculty to deploy Feedback Loop in their course to bring 360 peer feedback to their course. And to that end, the first step is importing your teams. It's one click. Now I've already imported my teams here, but it pulls it from the LMS. And once it's here, you can edit the teams. You can add new teams. You can, if a student drops, you can pull them from a team. All of that can be done directly in this interface. So we're not requiring you to go back to the LMS to tweak your teams. You can, and you can resync, but you have the flexibility to make those changes in here as well. Now, the surveys themselves, which we'll get to at the end, these are sent based on a library of templates that you can build, or your school can provide survey templates as well. But the idea is you build the survey as a template so that you can send it multiple times. In my example, I have 2 templates, and then I have one provided by my school. Having school provided templates is helpful if you're new to peer feedback, or maybe you're new to teamwork based courses. This might be useful, but regardless, you can go in and edit and make changes. And when you add new questions, you have a bunch of options. And one of them is an instruction block. So that's going to be like a little snippet of context or instructions that you can drop throughout your survey. And of course, at the top of the survey, you're going to be able to fill in content and instructions, but we wanted to let you break those out throughout the survey as well. You can build your survey optionally to reflect sections. So in my example, the sections are communication and leadership. But when you add a new question, let's go ahead and add a Likert scale. It's going to ask what category is it in or what section. And I have the options that I've already built in, but I could type in a new one as well and go from there. But let's say this is a leadership question. I start to fill it out. So we want to make it very easy to build the survey. You can preview it at any time to see what it looks like to a student. All right, so let's send an actual survey. You would go and add a new survey, create whatever details you want, your due date, which template you're basing this off of. You can create a new template, you can name it, and you can reconfirm who's participating in the survey. But by default, it's going to be all your teams in that course section, and then you're going to send that survey. And of course, you can send reminders. But let's look at one that's already been sent, and we've already collected these results. Everybody's completed it. You can tell that from the check marks. If you needed to reopen it because you've got one new student that just came in, you could do that. But you can also view the results. And the results are viewed at 3 different levels, depending on what you want to look at. You can view all of them for your entire course. And in this example, I've just got 2 teams, but we're going to highlight any outliers. So we've got one participant team that is performing differently than the others. And in this case, their self-evaluation is kind of low. So we can click on that and view more detail. We want to make this glanceable, so we highlight for you which teams need more attention, and then also let you click through and immediately get that additional information. And all of this can be pulled out in Excel, or you can view it even in PDF form, but you can click through again, like let's see, this person's really rating themselves much more lowly than their team is rating them. So let's click on Brooke and see all the details. The white dot is their self-evaluation. So this is really what it is. We've got one particular question. Does this teammate listen well to other suggestions? And they've rated themselves very poorly, which is kind of an interesting thing to be self-aware about. But in this example, that's how it came out. So now you might be able to talk to that student about that particular point if you choose to, if you want to have that reflective time with the student. But keep in mind, the student will also get an anonymized version of this report. They'll see how they're being rated, and they'll see how they're performing, both from their peers' point of view and then lining that up with the self-evaluation they gave themselves. So it is meant to be a reflective learning tool. And while we're on that topic, let's look at the response view that students will be completing. So if we click into respond as a student, I'm viewing it now as a student. The first thing I do is I rate myself. And I'll go through and we'll give myself about a 4 out of 5 on this stuff. So we'll go through and rate question by question. Of course, you can have open-ended text-based qualitative stuff, but in my example, these are all just Likert scales. Now, next, you rate your first teammate. And this is feedback we got from faculty that people thought was pretty important. They wanted a page for each response, so you're not viewing one big long list of questions, number one. And then number two, they want you to only see the student you're reviewing at a time. So I've reviewed myself, I can go back to that, or I can go and review now Christian, the next student, but I cannot go to the next student after that until I'm done with Christian. So it forces you to focus on the person that you are reviewing. And the idea here being, let's get high quality, as accurate as possible feedback for a particular student. And that's really what the whole tool is all about. We wanted to make this as easy as possible to deploy in the classroom by building it all into the learning management system. If you have any questions about this or curious to know more, email me, david@getfeedbackloop.com, and we could do a live demo. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.